Good morning. My name is Joel DeRouchey. I work at Kansas State University in the Animal Science Department. I'm involved with a number of different activities, and I'm going to talk specifically more in my role on the extension side, which was founded, for those that aren't as familiar with our university extension, it was through the Smith-Lever Act of 1914, where extension service was developed at a federal level and then brought back to our land-grant universities. And Kansas State here in Kansas is our land-grant university that then provides that system. In Kansas, we have a strong network throughout the counties. Susie Latta, who's here, is in one of our extension agents here in Marshall County. We have them in each of our county seats. And we provide services outside of ag to all the different areas through, obviously 4-H is probably as recognizable, but through all of our different areas. And I guess the message I want to bring today is really, obviously with ag today, but as we think of getting information to our clients, local families, local businesses, local producers throughout Kansas. I grew up in South Dakota, small community, Puckwana, 200 people, and I think back, and this last year was my 20-year class reunion. And so nothing like going back. I was feeling pretty old going back to a 20-year reunion, and for some reason they had me moderate. I guess they think I gab a little bit. And so I tell you what, going back, I felt pretty young, though, because the 20 years, we were still in the back row. And I think of it as we look at the development of how we get information. My parents were involved in the livestock industry. That was my upbringing, and now I'm able to serve producers. My dad was in the purebred seed stock business, and he was one of the first producers that I know of. And anybody who has, I know we have a very wide variety of audiences, those that sell a lot of their cattle through videos. Okay, right now in the livestock side, there's a lot of videos that occur. My dad was one of the first in South Dakota to start that. The big problem was it was really nice in concept, and then we post videos 15, 20 years ago. And how fast do you think that worked, okay? So we've made improvements. I'd like to thank all of you in the room that are part of this and very important industry for rural America in getting improved internet access, internet speed. But we still have a long way to go. If you think about our producers, this amount of sophistication, I'm going to specifically talk on our ag producers. The level of sophistication that our producers employ today, it's absolutely amazing. I know for many of you that do work, but I know many of you don't work on a daily basis with producers. The amount of risk and dollars involved today absolutely dwarf of where we were 10 to 20 years ago. If you think about a bag of seed corn, today it's going to cost $300 to $325 for most seed corn. We'd go back even 5 years, it was around $200, and if we want to go historical, what it cost. For a baby pigs, I think the Schwartzes, Representative Sharon and Leo Schwartz, a great farm family involved with swine production a number of years, had the pleasure to work with them. A baby pig today, we wean baby pigs at 21 days of age. That pig today is worth about $80, all right? Go back 5 years, it was worth about $30. The amount of risk that our producers are inheriting on an input basis, we can go through all of our livestock species agronomy, is absolutely massive. And the reward on the other side isn't always there. Obviously, that's why we have the risks involved. How do we get information? How do we get unbiased information that our extension and others provide to make sure producers can do a good job in their individual decisions? And that's a challenge we have. It seems like education should be pushing producers rather than trying to catch up. And oftentimes we do that with many producers, but I'll tell you what, there's many producers out front of us in the education side solely due to our ability to get them timely information. We oftentimes have the information, we just can't get it to everybody like we want to in the timely fashion. Back to face-to-face is great. That's why we're here. Could have this been a complete virtual meeting? Probably. But the face-to-face, nothing replaces sometimes. But we got to come really close getting information out over the web and through live streaming and videos. One of the challenges we run into on the education side, there's several examples. I'm involved in a 10-state swine educational program involving 10 land grants across the country. We're back to the way we operate. That is, we have to have the presenter send in the presentation a month ahead of time. We burn it on CDs. We send it out to all the farms. And then we do a phone bridge because we can't have a quality presentation done live in a lot of the places that our farms are. where are most swine farms today? If we were to go build a swine farm, where are most of those swine farms going to be built? They can be built right next to town, or are they going to be out in a more remote location? We're going to move them out, okay, for a variety of reasons. Well, what happens then when we have multi-million-dollar operations that are in business, in production? We have them in the most remote areas because especially biosecurity, to keep diseases out. We want to decrease traffic, but also just for the security of having it in a remote area. We lose the ability to get them information. And that's a consequence. And when we have these multi-million-dollar businesses that operate continually and support the local economy back in town, how do we make sure they're getting the information they need? This is certainly a way we got to catch up to provide those producers that information. Another good example is with different diseases that come out. And this can go across all crops, livestock, but just some good examples recently. Our swine industry is going through a disease called PED, porcine epidemic diarrhea. Doesn't sound very good, and it's not. It basically got introduced last year from China, and they estimated probably 60% of the U.S. herds have been impacted by it. It's been in the news, it's been on several of the stations. It's a big deal. Basically, every baby pig that a sow has, once they get exposed, for 3 weeks, every pig will die when they're babies. Okay. You can imagine, because this disease spreads very easily, do you think a lot of producers want to come to a central spot and get information and be around other producers? No. We need to provide this at home, real time, real information. And we do the best we can through YouTube videos, direct phone messages, all those things. But we're missing out on a lot of experts around the world, or experts Kansas can provide to other states, because we don't have the full ability to have quality and dependable ways to do our meetings virtually. We've tried many times, and we're back to phone bridges and CDs and those sort of things to get information out. And so to help our rural producers who are you think about the amount of dollars they spend in the local communities, we got to help advance them. This is one of the ways that we can do that. So I guess I leave that as a challenge for many of you in this room. How do we partner? How do we provide that? How do we continue to build that? Even in our vibrant communities, we still struggle with that at times. And so how do we continue to build that to help our producers and help advance the ag sector, which is so vital and represents the majority of dollars in our rural communities, helping those producers. And that's who I'm passionate about. That's who I help every day. And so that's kind of the message I wanted to leave with you here today. And we can have more discussion as part of panels and other discussion later this afternoon. Thank you for attending.